Hi, I'm Phil, and today I'm going to talk about the Espruino Pixel.JS. And I'm going to use this mind map to navigate my discoveries so far. It only arrived a couple of days ago, and I'm still exploring what it is and what it can do. So the primary reason for getting this device is to explore and master Bluetooth programming. So it's a Bluetooth device. It shares the same Nordic processor as the microbit, and you use Espruino to program it in JavaScript. So the standard unit comes at around about 30 UK pounds, and what you would use this for is for programming, learning programming, particularly JavaScript. And you could actually use it in the form of a conference badge. And that's the project that I've been working on. Some of the features, it has a good LCD display. The footprint is Arduino, so you can put 3.3 volt Arduino shields onto the device directly. It has the headers to support that, but it does have some onboard interfaces. So it's got a thermometer and a battery level sensor. But by adding the Arduino, you can go much further. Now, I didn't buy this version. I bought a slightly different alternative that was designed for a conference. And it has both a backlight for the LCD, but it also has NeoPixels. And this is what the one that I have looks like. And you can see that it's got a battery on board if you turn it over, and it's mounted on a Perspex board. So it's slightly different. It doesn't have the Arduino shield, which in some ways is a disadvantage, but it does have some alternative sensors, accelerometer, magnetometer. So in that way, it's a bit similar to microbit. It's got 8 RGB LEDs and 2 vibration motors. Power, well, you can see we've got a lithium battery on board, and it's got 3 headers. So instead of having the Arduino footprint, it uses GPIO headers and a special header so you can communicate via Wi-Fi. And what I'm going to do is actually walk through, before we go on to the projects I'm currently working on, it has fairly good support in terms of software libraries and APIs. And these are all accessible using the Espruino IDE environment. So you program in JavaScript, use these APIs. So if you wanted to talk to the LEDs, the Bluetooth, or say the vibration motors, you've got simple code you can write in JavaScript like this. And you see, with very small amount of code, you can create some quite interesting projects. And with all of my projects, I always start off with a name badge. But the ones I've done so far, I've done the commissioning, and that went quite well. And I've created a clock name badge. And future projects, these are some of them. And most of these just come from the example library on the Espruino website. So I want to go through these exercises, learn the user interface, and you've got special tutorials for the checkboxes, radio buttons, and sliders and so on. And for communications, I want to explore how it communicates with microbit using Bluetooth. And remember, this device is for you to master Bluetooth. It's, I think, one of the best environments for doing that. And it's interesting enough, many environments totally ignore Bluetooth. And this is the reason that I got it. So there's some of the communication projects I want to work on. And Internet of Things, data logging, right through to freezer alarm. These are some of the projects. And I'm interested in the last one there, to integrate it with the Grove system. But just remember the Arduino, it works very well with Arduino, and I've got to use the smaller headers that come with it. So to give you a bit of an idea, say with the name badge, my objective here is to create a simple name badge, which you might use on a conference, put your company name, and there's going to be a rotating cube. Now, most of this code came with the on the website, but I want to add some of my own code, and I want to explore how I could use the backlights. So the hardware I'm going to use is the Pixel.JS, and it's called Multicolored. And the software I'll be using is JavaScript. And to give you a bit of an idea of what it would look like, this is the screen for JavaScript. And I'll show you the how you would use that. So if you go to the Espruino website, you can call up this program. And so it's name badge 3. And you can see it's a reasonably long program, but most of the complexity here is drawing a rotating cube. So you can see that all the maths is supported to rotate that cube. And we'll have a look at in a minute what the outcome of that is. So if you want to connect, all you have to do is, I'm disconnecting at the moment. And to reconnect, you use web Bluetooth, and it's looking for a device. It's found the Pixel.JS, and it's going to connect with it. Now, once it's connected, it does take a little while to connect. So it's found it, and we're ready to go. Now, once you've loaded the JavaScript program, all you've got to do is just send it to the device. So you just press this button on the toolbox, and it will then download the program onto the Pixel.JS Multicolor. So stay tuned, and I'll give you a physical demonstration of how this goes. So all of these devices are well supported by the Espruino IDE, and you program all of these in JavaScript. So the one over here is the Pixel.JS Multicolor, and at the moment I've got it working as a name badge with my name and the MD STEM Club, and the part that takes up most of the programming is that rotating cube, but it has the ability to change the color of the backlight, and also to change the NeoPixel lights that are there. So it's closely related to the Bangle.JS version 3 watch, which I have here. And also I've got special firmware downloaded into microbit, since microbit uses a very similar processor and is basically a Bluetooth device. And but you can expand the Pixel.JS by adding this Wi-Fi device, and there is a header on the bottom here that allows it to communicate via Wi-Fi. So what we might do is just go to the IDE. So the IDE is shown over here, and I've shown that previously. So all you have to do is just load the program, and we'll just disconnect, then we'll connect again, and we go via web Bluetooth. So we're looking for the device, we've found it, we pair with it, and we just wait for the connection message. Now once we've found that, we're ready to download the program. So I'll only just highlight a couple of points. Here I'm looking at setting up the display, but most of this area here is associated with the turning banks of NeoPixels on or off. So you can see that I'm actually turning them all off, except I've got a blue background. So we saw it blue, so if we change that from blue to green, all we have to do is just change the parameters here. Okay, so we've changed the background to green, and all we have to do now is just download it. We go to where it's labeled RAM. It goes into the RAM of the Pixel.JS. So we'll let that go, and we'll just see what's happening to the device. Just take a while to actually... Okay, I'm going to have another go to reset Pixel.js, and to do that, I'm just looking for the slider switch for the power. So I've turned off and on the power, and it's reset to its normal state. Now what I'm going to do now is go back to the screen, and I'm going to connect. So we'll go to press the connect button on the top. We look for web Bluetooth, and we're waiting for it to pair. Now we've found the device. We now pair with the device, and we've connected. Now what I've changed, I'm changing the backlight. You can see that it's in various banks, and I've got to change all these banks here. So you can see that here. I'm going to change it from blue to green. So I've already done that. I've got 0 for blue and red, and for green in each bank of the backlight. They should all be green. So what I'm expecting is my name badge will have a green backlight. So all I have to do is go back to the RAM area and send that to the RAM area in my Pixel.js. So just press that button, and it's now downloading, and we'll go over and see what happens to our Pixel device. And here we go. It's we now have a name badge with a green backlight. Okay, so let's have a look at some of the other projects that I've been working on. I'll just open up projects again, bring it across, and we've explored the name badge, but I've also spent a bit of time on the clock program, and it works quite well. Quite happy with that, and I've done all the commissioning. So I'm ready to start some other projects, including games, and there's plenty available as tutorials. So you could use these to develop your own games and learn a bit about games programming. But I also want to learn a bit about user interface. And again, you've got plenty of examples on the tutorials on the Espruino website. Communications-wise, I want to explore particularly the how to use this device as a Internet of Things with MQTT, microbit, and I'll be starting a couple of projects on that. And also interfacing with sensors, making a simple logger, a freezer alarm, And again, all I have to do is use the templates and the tutorials on the website. And just in summary, I'll just want to critique it. So we'll go from projects just to see what my overall impressions are. So the good points are that it's a really good environment to explore Bluetooth, and in particular, Bluetooth low energy. And it works immediately. So it's, and then the JavaScript is an interpreter, and you can get immediate results. So what I find is that the software support is very good. The IDE, the APIs, and the examples and tutorials have helped me learn very quickly. And it has really good synergy with the watch, the Bangle.JS, with microbit, and also with Seeed Studio's wio.LTE. And there are APIs and support for all of these devices. And it does have some GPIO interface, including I2C, SPI, and UART interfaces. Now, the bad things, I found that some of the documentation is a bit poor, particularly on the hardware. And there's no labels on the printed circuit board for the header pins. So while the headers are identified, you don't know for sure exactly where they are. There's only, while there is some low-level support, the examples make up for that. So there's a couple of devices, and I want to try out the environmental sensor, the BME 280, and so that's not really a bad one. It's becoming quite dated now. So even though I just bought it a week ago, this device originated in 2017 and was used at a conference in 2018. So I'm wondering whether it will still have updates. There aren't that many projects for it, but the projects that are look pretty well documented. So I think that's quite good. And for the as I mentioned, the GPI headers are not soldered. You've got to do that yourself. So not looking forward to doing that. And similarly with the Wi-Fi, which connects via one of the other headers, it's not soldered either. And there's no Arduino IDE support, but I don't think that's too bad. The Espruino IDE is pretty good. And I still have to try, once I've done the soldering of the module, I need to add that special module, and I've got that. I could make things like a Internet of Things bridge between Bluetooth and Wi-Fi, and hence MQTT. And also I want to try out the I2C interface. And just finally are the references. So the best area to go to is the website for Espruino, and have a look at some of the tutorials. There is a special webpage just on this, and also for the version that was issued at the conference in 2018. So that's all for now. Thanks for listening.